Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with probably the most exciting review item I've ever had sent to the channel. You guys have seen these online probably a million times. Like, you know, it's a guy in a white lab coat and he's got a laser welder and he welds together two pieces of metal and it's like, wow, that's amazing. And he cuts with it and he does, you know, all kinds of stuff with it. And you're like, how functional is that for like an average person? And what do they cost? Are they prohibitively expensive? I'm going to show you one that's consumer driven, one that you and I can afford. Does it function as well as you see online? And can we do normal garage guy stuff with it proficiently, save time, get the value out of it? So let's take a look. Let's introduce you guys to the Xlaserlab X1 Pro. This is a laser welder that actually cleans rust and it cuts. So MIG, TIG, all in one, plasma cutter, and rust removal. A lot of machines in one unit. Now, this is still a class 4 laser. This is a 700 watt unit. They make these, you know, up to thousands and thousands of watts. There's limitations for this as far as, you know, thickness of metal and things like that, but let's take a look at it. I took it out of the box because it's involved to kind of put together. I didn't want to bore you guys with that. So it comes in two boxes. One box has the actual unit in it. One box has the wire feeder. Now you say, Dave, well, what's the wire feeder? It's kind of like a MIG, where you walk it and the wire feeds the MIG through. Or if you have things, you know, jointed up like this, it'll weld like a TIG, and you don't need filler for, you know, if the joint's super tight. Also cuts, so it has multiple tips. I'm going to show you guys that stuff. But overall, this is a monster of a package, right? This isn't like your cheapo, you know, Amazon plasma cutter, or like, you know, you buy an arc welder and it weighs, you know, 13 pounds. This thing's like beefy. It is girthy. It's got emergency stop switches, huge fans in it. It's got really stout electrical connectors. I'm going to use it in a real world environment. I don't want to give you guys me sitting at the bench just putting things together. I think there's plenty of videos like that, and they're not helpful for an average consumer, which I feel I am and you are, to determine, does this provide any value for me? You know, I'm a garage guy. I work in a barn. You guys, if you watch my videos, you know I work in a barn. I'm going to try to show you all the features of this. And then at the end, I'm going to let you know, do I think this is worth the money? Do I think this is worth your money? And if it is, you know, I got a discount code for it, obviously. When I say package nicely, I mean it. Everything has a place, and it's very stout. They sent this to me from across the world, and the boxes on the outside had a couple scuffs in it. You could never tell. These are packaged very well. I don't know how important that is to you. That's important to me. I don't want to send something back to a manufacturer because, oh, you know, the delivery service smashed it up. That's no good for anybody. Along with the machine, you get all the cabling, everything you need. You get the drive unit for the spool. You can put all manner of spools in here. This thing does aluminum, it does everything. So, you know, I'm going to touch on as many things as I can today. It does have a 6mm inlet for air or shielding gas. Now, what I did was, I bought this little kit on Amazon. Let me show you. And this is like an air fitting kit. So it comes with, you know, the tubing you need. And these are 6mm by 1/4 adapters because, you know, I'm in the US and we do things the US way. And it comes with, you know, all the stuff. I bought some, you know, 1/4-inch couplers. And then I bought some, you know, inventive adapters so I could hook up my shielding gas to my regulator. So I'll have all of this in the description. So if you guys have this machine, I know I put a picture on the X1 Pro user group, and everyone asked, how did you hook the regulator up? That's the first thing they said. So I'm going to have this in there. I know this is uncommon, but that's US issues. The majority of the rest of the world, this is not a problem. They use that type of hose, or they use barb fittings. It comes with all the tips for this is for the MIG feed. So you put this in the gun. I'm going to show all that to you. It also comes with focusing lenses. Now, these focusing lenses have to be stored at room temperature. That is something else. You know, this machine altogether is more delicate than a MIG. Problematic for somebody like me in the environment that I work in. This garage is not climate control. In this little box, they give you protective lenses for it that are all sealed and clean. When you work with this machine, you want to be as clean as possible. You want to keep the dust down. I know, garage, I get it. We'll see how far I get with it. And then they give you this nice pack, and this gives you all the nozzles for this machine to cut or clean or weld with. And it'll tell you what each one does right on it. You know, we can talk about that. Let me open it. You know, they're good quality nozzles. They're all threaded. They thread right onto it. I threaded them on, threaded off. I've never actually turned this machine on because I want to do this together. And look what they include with it. This is the test for this machine. They test every machine. So this is where they use the clean function. This is the welding function. This is the cut function. So they verified that this machine does exactly what it is supposed to do before they send it to you. How many times have you guys got something from a manufacturer and it was DOA? You know, they're trying to make sure that you're never going to get a DOA product. I appreciate that. Conveniently, my neighbors are having their roof done today, so we're going to have to tolerate that kind of thing. But this is the gun. So you can hook the feeder up here, and it'll feed into this. But the first thing we want to do here is we want to try cutting. I'm more interested in things that I would use on a daily basis. So we're going to take this tip out, which is conveniently covered up, and I'm going to keep this always in a bag. And then I'm going to switch to this. This is what's considered the cutting tip. So let's put that on, and let's fire it up for the first time. Right off the bat, guys, let's discuss what it takes to power this unit. Now, this unit is multi-volt. You can run it 110 or 220/240. It comes set up with a 20 amp 125 cord cap. So that's a 520p. So I happen to have every outlet in my garage is on a 20 amp. So we can literally directly plug this right into the outlet, boom, and we're running. This machine has all kinds of safeties. The laser's not gonna go off unless it's grounded and touching, and you know, all of the switches have to be out. It's like a big piece of machinery. I know this is gonna upset people, I know, but we gotta get a good view of the screen. And usually I'd tell you to just leave them on until they fall apart. Beautiful screen. Oh, okay. So you're gonna pick by touch screen what you're trying to do. So initially, we're gonna try cutting. It's literally this easy. I'm really having a hard time showing you guys how nicely this is laid out, but this is this easy, just touch. Now, if you're gloved up, you know, you're gonna have to take your glove off. You're gonna wanna wear gloves when you're cutting and using this machine. You're gonna wanna protect your skin. We're gonna hit the confirm button. Vertical cutting is strictly prohibited. Angle cutting is permissible. Things that I don't know, we're learning together. Confirm. Power, duty cycle, frequency. Now, this unit is good for cutting up to 3 mil. For dumb people in the US, what is 3 mil? You know, a shade under an eighth? So what we're looking to do is get some either 16 or 18 gauge, which is plenty, because if you do car repairs, this thing's hopefully going to be bread and butter for you. Let's lay down a piece. Let's get PPE on. It comes with the appropriate glasses. You can buy a full face shield that has the appropriate wavelengths. Just make sure it has certifications on it and you don't buy some like knockoff thing that's not going to protect you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook my air up because I made a couple quick connects so I can hook, you know, my compressor up, which you got to really dry air to this. I have a passive dryer and then I have, you know, a standard dryer set and water separators and stuff like that. So I got it all hooked up and I figured make a test hit with it, see if it starts to cut. And I'm like, why isn't it cutting? And then I realized it is cutting. There's hardly any sparks, and the kerf width is so tiny I couldn't actually see the cut until I twisted the metal. I'm not even kidding you. Look at this. That is actually a cut right there. And so is this. I stopped pulling the trigger because I'm like, well, it's not doing anything. And then I twisted it with my fingers. It is cut. This thing works on a CNC table. Oh. Can you imagine laser cutting with this machine on a plasma table? I have one. That might be a whole nother episode. Update, Captain's Log. Too far in the future. A lot of the guys in the X1 group said, put the clamp directly to the gun when you're cut. Like this. So I did that for the cleaning, and then I did that for the cutting, and it worked amazing. And I just zipped along with it. So the piece I'm making for the back of the truck, I need to cut this much off. So I think what I'm going to do is set up my little fence, try it like this with the clamp on it, and hopefully it works. So we'll try that together. So we're going to get our goggles on, because safety first, especially with the laser. We'll fire the machine up. Literally that easy. Can't believe it. Now we're going to shut her off. Put the interlock on so the laser will not fire. You want the interlock off. This laser traveled through here into the paint here. That's how far this will go. So honestly, you need to make sure your feet are clear underneath it, everything's clear underneath it. Learning as I go. This is a rusty old rotor. Let's try that. Reset. All right, here we go. That might be worth the price of admission right there, boys. That is super cool. Wow. I want to find something else rusty. Let's go find something else rusty. Let's hit the E-stop on this so we know we're safe. What is the chance that this thing removes paint? This is a piece I cut off a tractor bucket. Been sitting outside forever. I'm interested to see if that'll remove paint. Turn our interlock off, make sure our glasses are on, because safety first, and we have our glovies. Okay, here we go. Okay, now I'm going to stop this. And fans just came on, so this thing's a little warm. Just warmed up. And I'm going to take my glasses off now that I have this thing safe. The metal's like new. Wow. Okay. That's kind of cool. Look at that. That's... Well, okay. Now we're getting somewhere. Sorry about the sun flare in the lens, but it is very sunny. This is our 1966 F100 chassis swap going onto the F250 four-wheel drive. What I found was, to align my body correctly and have the correct elevation, I needed to come up in the mounts a good 1.5 inches. So I got it all lined up, and this is what I found. if I use the factory rubber mount and then a 1.5 inch piece, that gets me the height I need here. Now, I don't want to use this tiny little piece. I want to use this, right? So I got some of this. This is 2.5 by 1/4. So what we're going to do is lop off a piece. We're going to weld a washer, big washer to it, a body washer. And that way we got the spacer we need. And that should show us, like, how useful is this laser welder. All right, so we got our 1.5 inch piece, courtesy of our Evolution. We like to clean this up to weld to it. Here we go. Pretty intuitive screen, all touch screen. Nice setup. We have changed to our 20D, which is the cleaning tip. I basically tipped the welder part out of the way. You can just take it off. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into clean mode and we're going to confirm. Now it's telling you duty cycle, frequency, all that. It also knows that if you have a ground connection. What I struggled with when I first took this thing out was if you ground it to something that is rusty, it doesn't make connection and it doesn't work. What the guys online say to do is ground the clamp directly to the gun. You take that for what it is. At that point, the gun direction is live all the time. It doesn't have to make continuity through the piece of material. And you can aim this and shoot it anywhere. So be very, very, very careful. I got pants, boots. I'll have gloves on, long sleeves. And we're going to be using our special laser glasses. Do not use a welding hood. It's not going to work and you're going to burn your eyes out. Be careful what is behind this laser when it passes through and continues on, right? Make sure your feet are not in the way, hands, small animals, your child. It's not a toy. I keep telling you that. I'm being very serious. I want you to fully understand this is not a toy. This isn't like a plasma cutter where, you know, a spark's going to maybe burn your foot. No, please be very careful. So our plan is, let's try to clean this up because this that's been sitting for a while, you know? And let's see if we can't work some of this off. Now, will this laser melt this plastic table? I want to know that too. Put these on. Make sure they're real close to your face. You don't want reflection. Reflection from a laser is just as bad as the direct laser. Keep that in mind. You have to run air in a cleaning cycle. Now she's ready to go. This is the emergency stop button. So wherever you're working, you hit this, the thing shuts off. You have to, let's check gas. Oh yeah, we got gas. So it's telling you your width. It's your cleaning width, your duty cycle, frequency, and power. I don't think we're going to need more than 50%. This means it's connected. You still have to press this to turn it on. So it's wear glasses and respirator before starting welder. I am working in a well-ventilated area, but they are concerned that you are going to inhale particulates. Very important. We're going to hit confirm. We're going to hit it again. She's green, she's live. We're coming over here. Now this does add heat, but it's not like a plasma cutter. Clean the rust and scale right off it though. What do you think, guys? Pretty good, right? What about the table? Let me see if I can burn the table. Oh yeah, it'll burn the table. Let's get something else to clean. Let's see. Okay, I got this thing set on 30% now because we had like too much heat in it. Not too much heat coming through, that's good. That's crazy. Well, that works pretty good, I gotta be honest, that's good. I have this only set to 30% right now. We'll do a first experimental weld. Probably not good to use the piece we need, but... So you gotta turn the wire feed on or off, depending on if you want to use wire feed or not. You can check your gas check with this, continuous. Your swing width, that's how wide the weld is. Swing frequency, that's how fast it moves back and forth. Power, material thickness. I do have straight argon going to this thing. So... first pass, I don't know, do we even want to just go for it? Maybe we should try to go for it. Alright, so we're gonna pull our emergency off, we're gonna turn our interlock on, we're gonna hit our welder, it's gonna tell us to put your glasses on, and we're ready. We are go for flight. Boys, I don't know if this is gonna work at all. I know I can touch it because I've seen that done. That's nuts. Well, this is like anodized bolt, so it's going to make some smoke. But oh my goodness, this is so easy to use. Watch. Getting the hang of it. Alright, let me take off the glasses, but I gotta hit my interlock and I gotta turn this thing off, make sure we're safe first. Short of the stop and starts, which I gotta get used to, I've never, I did one line on a piece of sheet metal. I've never actually used it. That is awesome. Let's get some gloves on, because I don't know how hot that is. But man, what a precision line. Look at that. We still got one more line we could do. But I've never used this before. It's getting hot enough to go through the other side, so we're getting good penetration there. Now, obviously, you know, this is going to be held by weight, so it's not like, oh my goodness, we need, you know, structural integrity here. And this is a 700 watt machine. Cold kills the batteries. So what I did was, I increased the width a little bit. I think this is cooled down. Yeah, look at that. That's insane. See, that's the larger width. Look at it. I know you can't see it well on this, but all right, Xlaserlabs. That's impressive. It welds that easy. Literally that easy. We'll just look at it. Ridiculous, huh? I know. I know. I'm right with you. Let's do more to show you that, you know, the starts and stops, or the stops are what gets me. I'm brand new at this. I literally just started using it yesterday. But it's pretty cool. You just kind of lay it in there. It walks itself. Everything's a mess. I get it. I got stuff everywhere because I'm technically working out on the 66 for our next video. I'm finishing this video now because I wanted to make another one of those mounts. I'm going to put that in the video. You'll already have seen it. The results were incredible. Once I got the wire speed and everything, oh my goodness, I'm so impressed with this machine. If you want to get one of these machines, they have a Black Friday deal right now. It's $599 off. I'm going to have a link in the description. It does give you TIG quality through, quote, MIG function, right? It is basically a TIG welder, and you don't even have to learn how to TIG. You can learn how to use this machine probably in a day or two. Can you learn to TIG weld in a day or two? You can't. You're not gonna. It also has a cut function and a clean function, so you can clean your rust, cut your sheet metal. You know, you're not doing structural welding. I'm not saying that. You're not gonna, you know, put up a building with it because, you know, it's 700 watt, but it's a consumer level machine. For the money, you get the latest technology, and it's really not any more than a big brand name welder. You know, you buy a nice Miller or Lincoln, you're spending this kind of money. You're not going to get this kind of result right out of the box if you don't have the experience with the machine. This machine's super easy. You also have the benefit of being able to use nitrogen as a shielding gas. Now, I didn't do that. I've seen other people do it. That means your consumable cost is less. So eating into what you'd spend on the machine, offsetting it with consumables, it may end up being a bargain for you. If you've got a plasma table and you're putting little intricate things together and you can zip, 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 this thing is going to be worth its weight in gold. I'm pretty happy with all of it. I think I'm going to put it on a cart or build a cart for it because it's a little bigger than a normal welder. It does fit on a cart. You saw it in the beginning of the video. I didn't like the way it was set up. I just threw it on the table so you could see it better laid out. I know it's kind of a mess, but here we are. But guys, I think this is the future of welding. I really do. I think this is the future. So if you guys want to jump on an Xlaserlabs X1 Pro, or they have the regular X1, so you have two different versions of this. The X1 Pro is the big dog, and they actually have a dual wire feed, so you can get that nice snaky weld in there, and it gives you a lot more width. That might be the way to go. They do offer that as an add-on if you did buy the machine. They also have full hoods. So it looks like a welding hood, but it's actually the correct lens. And Xlaserlabs has those on sale this week too. At first I was very apprehensive about this machine. I wasn't sure I even wanted to run it. I'm very comfortable with a MIG and a TIG. I'm like, I don't want to learn anything new. I'm glad I did. I'm glad I did. I'm very pleased with the outcome of this machine. So, and I think you would be too. This is the future of welding and cutting. It's right here in front of you guys. And this thing is affordable for the average Joe working in his garage. You watch me do all those things, then if I can do it, you can do it. Grab an Xlaserlabs X1 Pro or the regular X1, and you can have some frickin' lasers. It's awesome. Thanks for watching.